Let me jump to a fun one for a second. Let's talk about this. My favorite person in all of everything, the transformed wife. We're going to talk about this tweet of hers. Uh, Let me share this with you. Here we go. Let me make this larger. Let's talk about this. Women in the workforce have made it far easier for women to divorce their husbands since they don't need their husband anymore. Husbands who want their wives to work may just be pushing their wives to divorce them. She's not available to him as his helpmeet, which is Christianese for slave. That's what she's getting at. She's a helpmeet to her boss. She's making her own money, thus gaining independence from him. She usually insists he help around the house and with the children. This is not conducive to having good marriages. Holy crap. Okay, breaking that down for a second. If women are in the workforce, making money, they have some semblance of independence, then what? They might get the sense that they're being mistreated in a marriage, that they're unhappy in a marriage and leave. Like, why is that a bad thing? I don't understand that. She's not available to her husband as his like property. She's just there for her boss. Like, what the hell are you talking about? She she usually insists he help around the house. She's saying this is a bad thing. If a woman asks her husband to help around the house and with the children, that's bad. What? Like, I change diapers. I absolutely try to help around the house because that's how a partnership works. What is she talking about? This is some broken brain Christian fundamentalist thinking here. Like, women are not the property of their husbands. They should not be. But wait, there's a follow-up. Here's another tweet. This is not connected. These are just two tweets within like 2 days from this lady. Here's the other one. Adultery has dramatically increased since women left their homes for the workforce. When you put men and women together all day long, it's the perfect recipe for adultery. God wants women to be keepers at home and helpmeets to their husbands for many good reasons. This is one. Okay, so if I have this right, adultery has increased. Why? Because women left their homes and they work with men. Now, what happens if men leave their homes and work with women in the workplace? Does that increase adultery? Not according to this tweet. No, just when women leave their homes and make the mistake of going to work alongside men. That's how adultery happens. Mind you, they can make a choice about that, and the choice is probably no, but according to her, if you just mix humans together, then that's how adultery happens. The better answer, obviously, is to keep your wife in a cage. And if you did that, then nothing bad would ever happen, you see. Or, hear me out here, the alternative is if you're a gay guy or a lesbian, you can absolutely work at a place with other people and you're fine. So if you're a guy who works at like the Simpsons steel mill and it's break time, you're fine. There's no issue there whatsoever. But again, I'm pretty sure this transformed wife's like ideal marriage involves putting the woman in like a wrapper while her husband is away for work, or letting her out of the cage so she could do the dishes and cook dinner and homeschool all 27 of the children. And then when he comes home, just listen to your husband and do whatever he says because he's the owner. And then nothing bad will happen in your marriage. No adultery. You're gonna stay together forever. Like, here's the thing. Going back to that first tweet about divorce. Here we go. Going back to this tweet for a second. I talked about this on the podcast the other day too, which is I don't know why longevity is the ultimate end goal in this person's view for any relationship. Like, if a couple says, we're celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary, that's fine. That's very nice, but that is not a goal in and of itself. Now, if you tell me we've been together 50 years and we're very happy and we have been, that's wonderful. Good for you. But for a lot of couples, especially the ones who have been married at this point for like 50 or 60 years, there's a good chance you didn't know there was another option and you stuck through the marriage despite things that were happening during it. And I don't know why we should be celebrating that just because, the paper record shows you've been together for a long time. But in this person's view, like, that's it. You just have to stick together forever. Your husband owns you. You don't get to have a job. Because apparently, in her world, every couple in America can make it by on one person's salary. That's the way it works today in 2023. Like, what world does she live in where two incomes are not always necessary to have a household? And my God, I'm just trying to think because none of these people think you should only have like one or two kids. You got to have 57 kids and then you got to homeschool all of them. How exhausting. I've had a kid at home when it was like one kid and it was a snow day. And by the end of like an hour, I am dying because I'm trying to do homework with them and I'm just bored and exhausted and you want to do other stuff, but it's mentally taxing, right? So like props to single parents and props to people who do homeschool their kids for good reasons. That's all well and good. But basically to pin that on your wife and to say you got to do that and stay at home and make dinner and all that stuff from like, yes, the 1950s or whatever the idealistic version of the 1950s is. Because every one of those shows from the 1950s has the picket fences and like zero black people in it. That's her ideal world. And it's so messed up. And it doesn't bother me so much that she believes it. It does bother me that people like her give advice to younger Christian women, because that's the sort of purity culture abstinence BS that actually does get shared between people. And that is messed up on many levels.